Hello and good evening, everyone. Good evening. First time at the moment we stream to YouTube, so just checking it's all connected. If someone could let me know that's on YouTube, if anyone, let me know, and obviously those on Facebook as well. So here we are. Welcome. We are joined by, obviously 90% of the community probably knows Natalie, but for those that do not know Natalie, Natalie Cromie. Welcome, Natalie.
Hello, Hayden. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Yeah, a bit rushed off my feet, doing a bit of RA today, running around the country. But
literally running around the country. Did you have like a roadmap in place for going different places?
Yeah. I had specific stores, and I did a stretch on the stores. So didn't quite do all what I wanted to do, but what can you do? There was loads of traffic, but. Yeah,
it was horrendous today. We went out for, I actually had a bit of a day off today. So day off, it's, if you can call it a day off, when you work for yourself. But I didn't have much planned work-wise today because I worked quite a lot yesterday. And we had some personal errands to run today. And the traffic was mental. We actually went into our local high streets and like literally the pubs were packed and everything like that. And I was saying to Matt, I was like, God, I'm not that desperate to get out for a drink.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I suppose because we've got this community and stuff, and everyone's talking to communities. Maybe we speak to people a lot more than most. I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah. But anyway, welcome everyone. So hi, Kevin, Angela. There's some more as well, but it just says Facebook user on mine, so I can't actually see. Kevin's watching from YouTube, so we've definitely got YouTube up and running, so that's good. So tonight, what we're going to do is obviously just have a chill chat / interview with Natalie. So thanks for joining us.
Oh, well, thanks for asking me. No one ever asks me. Like I was saying beforehand, this is like the first time I've been interviewed, certainly for like the UK communities. I've been interviewed in America previously from a UK audience point of view. But yeah, I've never had someone asking me the questions. So I'm a little bit nervous. Excited to talk about some stuff.
I get quite nervous on every live. I don't know why. Just before I go, it's like you're almost on stage, really, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people watching, usually, So I'm not sure how many people we have tonight, because obviously the pubs are open and the gyms are open. So I've just got back from the gym, and I would be there now if we weren't having this interview. So some people might be at the gym, some might be at the pub, but I'm sure we have a few, or they'll watch it on the catch up afterwards. So yeah. So hi, Luke. Hi, Simon. Good evening, everyone. So let's dive into it, shall we? So what we're going to do is go straight back from the start of your business journey, if you don't mind that. So what I thought I'd do, hi, Kay. What I thought I'd do is just ask you a few questions and basically say, where did it all start? So where did it all start in business, in your first sort of, exposure to the business world?
Well, I mean, I've been self-employed now full-time for coming up to, I think it's 14, 15 years, something like that. But I think going back, we'd always run businesses of some sort. And I think my first kind of exposure to business when I was younger, when I was growing up, when I was at school and things like that, I definitely always had a different mindset to other people. It was very much, I knew that I wasn't going to go down the academic route. I knew that it wasn't going to be for me going on to college and university and that type of thing. I just didn't have the attention to detail for that type of education. And I always had really advanced jobs for my age. And I had a job working at an electronics store when I was 16. And it was crazy because I was working, I think, maybe 1 or 2 evenings a week on a Saturday and Sunday. And when I was 16, I was earning like £300 to £400 a week at that age, which, and I'm talking, well, I'm only talking 5 years ago. No, I'm talking quite a few years ago. I'm talking quite a few years ago now. And, some of my friends were working in, fish and chip shops or something like that, earning like £2 an hour or whatever. So I always really enjoyed earning earning good money at a certain age and things like that. And that's at the same time I actually met Matt. So I met Matt when I was 16, and we've been together for 24 years ever since. And when
Really?
yes, yeah. And when
I'm alive. Yeah.
Exactly. I definitely would have got less for murder for sure. But what was quite obvious between us is we were both very similar minded, that we didn't want to work for the man, that we wanted to start our own businesses. So when we, I think I must have been about 17, 18, something like that. It was the first time Matt and I started our first business. So I wasn't actually legally able to start my first business at that time. So I wasn't 18. And we started on eBay. So that's where we started, because that was the platform at the time. And what I've always been quite good at is being able to procure products. So I found these leather bags that were really unusual. And we imported these leather bags in and we sold them on eBay. And they were like selling like hotcakes, absolutely crazy. So much so that when Matt was 19, 20, we earned enough to buy our first property at that age.
Very young.
Yeah, really, really young. I still wasn't even 18 at that point. So again, had to put all my trust in Matt because I wasn't legally able to have a mortgage. And we kind of went from there, and, trends change. eBay lasted a few years and we quite enjoyed that, but we did both go into the workplace at that point because I don't know, it felt too young to I don't know, we just followed the standard path that everyone follows. And we had a variety of different jobs over the year, and we both then started owning our own business at the same time. Matt had a restaurant and I had a beauty salon.
Okay, so that was your first business, the beauty salon.
That was my first actual physical business. So I had a beauty salon. And again, I was still quite young. So I was about 22 when that happened. And it was great. Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed running the beauty salon. But what I didn't enjoy was running a bunch of girls all together, because girls in a beauty salon, very catty, very bitchy.
Yeah.
But it was great. But I ended up selling it a couple of years later to one of the girls that worked for me in the salon, because it was the right time. Same thing with Matt. And we'd kind of come in and come out of things. And then probably about 12 years ago, something like that, I was working in recruitment, I think, at the time. I can't remember. That was my last permanent job, working in recruitment. And then we came across a cool brand. And like I said, I've always been quite good at procurement. So I've always been good at spotting trends or looking for what I think is going to be popular. And we were given the opportunity, or if I say given the opportunity, I think you create your own luck at the end of the day. I approached this brand and asked them, they weren't launched in the UK. And I approached them and said, are you interested in, selling in the UK market? And again, I didn't really know what I was going to do with this brand, but I managed to persuade them and they gave it to me. And that's when we opened our distribution company. And at that point, we had left our permanent jobs because we'd also did some digital marketing before that as well. And so we had this distribution company, and we had that for 5 years, and we won loads of awards, and we were selling to hundreds of retailers in the UK. I always really describe it as, like, we were talking about The Apprentice beforehand, funnily enough, but it was running that distribution company was like looking at The Apprentice and watching the whole series. That's exactly what it was like. I used to go in and pitch to retailers. We were doing trade shows. It was all about running around the country and just supplying these products. And we were really fortunate to supply some of the biggest retailers in the UK. And yeah, it took a lot of knocking on doors and persistence and, persuading people to give us a chance. And it was great. Everything was perfect. And then two things happened. One, we had an issue with supply. So for a period of 6 months, we couldn't get our main product. And due to the materials that it was made out of becoming a lot rarer. So we just couldn't get this particular product. And I really had my biggest business lesson at that point, which was to never put all your eggs in one basket, because it got to the point where 6 months without supply of our retailers, 6 months supply of, not having any money coming in or anything like that was a really, really worrying time. So we learned a really big lesson. We did recover, we got it back, but I think I might have said this to you anyway. It was a scary time. We got down to literally, how are we going to pay our mortgage the next month?
We had on the call we had last week. Yeah, you said that to me.
Yeah, it was really scary, and it was a massive life lesson to learn. And I think what was one of the most annoying things was, at the time we were supplying the Victoria and Albert Museum gift shop with one of our products, and we were their best-selling product, and they were buying thousands of units off me every single month. Pardon?
You couldn't get them anymore.
Couldn't get them. And, the V&A Museum's like a big, it's one of the top shops in the country in terms of tourism. 3 million people go through it every year. And like I said, they were buying thousands and thousands of units. And there's me thinking, oh, we're their bestseller. Yeah. They'll be okay with me, kind of thing. But the second I couldn't supply it, and by the way, it took me 2 years of knocking on their door to get into that shop as well. And the second we couldn't supply, they were like, no, we'll find someone else. And they did. And it was like, so that was a massive lesson to me. It was, while I will never put all of my eggs in one basket again, because we were fully invested completely within that one business, both me and Matt. So both breadwinners. So not just one of us, both of us. And then at the same time as well, I'd also had a baby. So I had my son, Max, and doing the trade shows, I think that was probably about a year later. And then having the trade shows as well. And my son, when he was about 12 weeks old, and I had to leave him for 6 days to go and do the spring fair. And it just killed me, because no mother wants to leave their newborn baby, that early on. I said to Matt, I can't do this anymore. I said, because I was the person that was, dealing with the clients and everything. So I said, I can't do this anymore. We need to find something else. And that compounded with nearly going under from this business of not being able to supply. I tasked Matt the idea of, look, we got to find another income stream, essentially, because I'm not going to be put in this position again. And that was probably about 7 years ago.
Okay.
Now, something like that.
Yeah. And that's when you started looking.
That's when Matt's, like I said, he's generally the one that will look around for stuff and discover things. And, he's quite innovative in, being able to say, okay, I think this is going to work, or this could be right for us, or something like that. And that's when he talked to me about Amazon. He said, oh, I'm thinking about trying to sell on Amazon. And actually, when I'd had my distribution company, I'd been in quite long talks with Amazon about selling our product to Amazon. And so I was like, what, you want to go back to, but so many people warned me not to sell to Amazon because they would stitch us up. So we didn't, we never ended up that. So I was like to him, oh, okay, so you want to go back to selling to Amazon? You want to supply to Amazon? He's like, no, I want to sell on Amazon. And I was like, well, what? And I just, this was like 7-8 years ago, something like that, before, I think some people still don't even know, sellers can sell on Amazon. And he said to me, no, it's a marketplace. It's like eBay. People can sell on Amazon. Yeah. And he told me about this crazy idea of going into shops and buying products and selling them on Amazon. And I was like, that's ridiculous. No one's ever going to do that, Matt. And I was like, don't be so ridiculous. Come back to me with a better idea.
It doesn't sound proper, does it? Yeah, I know what you mean. And just so that for full transparency, by the way, Nat's just automatically moved us on to the next question. So I'll just let you know that my next question was, how did you discover Amazon? But it's great. It's great. It's automatically gone on to that, and I thought it would, but I thought
that's the thing. He tried to talk to me about it, and I was like, nah, this is it sounds ridiculous. Who on earth is going to buy something on Amazon for more money than they can buy in a store? Because I've always been a bargain hunter. So for me, it didn't compute at all. I was like, forget it. I said, I'm not listening to that. And he'd even taken me in Sainsbury's, and he'd got the app and he'd scan stuff. And I was like, told you, look, I think I gave him, like, I remember him scanning like a Dolce Gusto coffee machine and being like, oh, okay, that's rubbish. But anyway, so he didn't bother me again, because that's like 7-8 years ago, and he didn't really talk about it again for maybe another year. And then he said, and it was a summer, and I remember exactly, it was a really hot summer, and he said to me, we were just carrying on as normal and whatever, and he said to me, oh, I've had this idea, because we got one of those lazy spas.
And who hasn't had one of them?
Yeah, exactly. I've had like 3 now.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get the filters because it was a really hot summer.
Yeah.
And Matt said, oh, I've found a wholesaler that's got these filters, a UK-based wholesaler. No one can get them. So I'm pretty sure that I can buy a pallet load and sell them and make some good money on them. And I said, oh, okay, that sounds good. I said, where are you going to sell them? And I said, are you going to sell them on eBay? Because that's where we first started selling, on eBay. He was like, yeah, I'm going to sell them on eBay, but I'm also going to sell them on Amazon. And I was like, oh, not this again, kind of thing. And I was like, Matt, sell them on eBay. That's where everyone knows where it's at.
What we know. Yeah.
Exactly. And he was like, no, I think I'm going to give this Amazon thing a go. He's like, too many people are talking about it, so there's got to be something here. And so he did. He listed on Amazon, set up, and there's a wholesale product, obviously. And that's when we discovered or saw the power of Amazon, because not only did they sell well, they were outselling eBay by like 6-8 to 1 on eBay. And it was just like they were coming in, and we were making, I think, maybe £20 profit on each one, and we were selling dozens a day.
Saying we were selling multi-packs of 6 and 12. Yeah.
That's
why you're queen of the bundles, because your first product, yours and Matt's, were bundles.
And it's all Matt discovered it, and it's all down to Matt. And the thing was, the summer died. We ended up buying 2 or 3 pallets worth, and we did really well over the summer, and made some good money selling them over the summer. And I think Matt can confirm, I don't think we even did it FBA. I think they were merchant fulfilled.
Wow.
And we were like, okay, we can see there's something here. Mm-hmm. And that's when I spent probably a good 3 months looking into the Amazon, me and Matt both looking into it. And of course, the first thing that caught our eye was private label. We had a distribution company. We had all the infrastructure in place to be able to import. And it was like, okay, yeah, private label's going to be for us. But the more I looked into private label, the more certain things weren't adding up about private label for me at that stage. And I said, I like this, but I don't know if the private label's for us. And so we looked, and then Matt came back to the original idea of arbitrage. And I don't know what it was at that time where I dismissed him before. Maybe it's because I'd seen the power of Amazon. I said, okay, let's give it a go. And we went to Toys R Us, and they had a sale on Thomas the Tank Engine, like a 3 for 2 sale, and maybe with a 3 for 2 sale and like a voucher off at the same time as well. And literally, we bought a load of stuff before Toys R Us, went nuts and stopped selling to people. We bought a load of stuff. We sent it in, and I think something like within 20 minutes of our first shipment landing, we had this like play set, and the first one sold, and then an hour later or 2 hours later, I think we bought 6 or 8, they'd all sold out. And we were like, okay.
Oh, and you wish you had 100,000.
Yeah, exactly. And this was like our first shipment. And I think we'd probably sent in like 50 items or something like that across the range of like Thomas the Tank Engine. And we were just like, wow, okay, we need to look into this more. And we gradually went into it more and more and more. And we found our niche within toys, as most people were at that time. I discovered Disney Store, obviously being a Disney fan. So I did very well selling a lot of Disney products before people even discovered that you could sell Disney on Amazon. We were also importing Disney products from the US as well. So we were importing hard to buy Disney products. And I would say probably the first year and a half of selling on Amazon, we were predominantly probably about 80% RA, something like that. So Matt and I as a team, we'd drop our son at school, and then we were going out and spending the whole day out doing RA. And then I must have got pregnant at the time again. And, you know, that's when we spent probably, like I said, the first year, 18 months, doing just pure RA with a little bit of online arbitrage. I didn't like the online arbitrage at the time. I liked going out and talking to the managers in the store and building relationships and negotiating extra discounts. It was very similar to what I'd done with my distribution company. But the pressure wasn't there because, you know, I didn't have to pick up the phone and sell to people at the other end. Amazon was this platform that I could just sell on, you know, easy. You would list something, you would send it in, it would sell. There wasn't a lot of price dropping or anything like that. I mean, it did exist. It did exist. Yeah, it did exist. But I remember first instance of price dropping when sellers used to message each other more at that point and sort of like say, why do you keep dropping the price? And you know, this type of thing, which you just wouldn't do nowadays.
Can you imagine doing that now? It used to be a full-time job.
No, absolutely not. And that was it really. And then I just fell in love with Amazon from there. And I've always been someone that, you know, credits where credit is due. And I was just amazed by the infrastructure and the FBA system and how you could do this business.
And that was back then, and now it's probably got even tighter, stricter, but tighter. Yeah,
a lot stricter.
Yeah,
it's a lot stricter now than it was. But then at the same time, for everything that was frustrating about doing Amazon then, it works both ways. There are things now that are much less frustrating, because we have things, you have tools like BuyBot Pro and things like that, where you didn't have at the time. And you kind of had to make a little bit of a judgment about profit and, you know, whether or not it was going to be a good deal. And Matt, again, might correct me on this, but I don't even think we were using Keeper at the start. I think we were using like Camel. And that's all we had then.
Literally, Camel is just sort of, I don't know if it's still in business. I have no idea. I think Keeper bought it, didn't they? Did they buy it?
Rumor. I think that's the rumor that Keeper bought it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool rumor if someone's made it up. It's like, that's what everyone, But that, I just discovered Camel when I was getting into the business, like, you know, when I started. But then I used Keeper. So it was just on its way out when I started. Let's just say hello to a few people if we can. So where were we? So yeah, Simon, Kate. Hi, Kate. Natalie looking very glam tonight. Absolutely.
I thought it was being a bit vampire-y.
No, I know. I didn't know what you meant. Vampire? I said, you don't look that too vampire at all. Thomas says, whoop, whoop, loving it. Lovely to see Nat. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Hayden and Nat, Facebook user. I can't see who that is, unfortunately. No StreamYard. Hi, Kate again. She says, at your 24 years with Matt, I think, which is pretty impressive. You don't hear of many of that long relationships, dare I say it. You know, that is a long stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a stretch. I think that Matt and I, we always say, and this is going to sound a bit, mushy, but it's true, that we complement each other very well from a business point of view, but also from a personal point of view, because we, secret of our success is we are able to work together, which not a lot of married couples can do that. But I think what works really, really well is we are yin and yang. We're completely opposites in what we do in business. Every weakness I have in business, it's Matt's strength, and vice versa. So we do complement each other very well, but we're also very different business people at the same time. So it's that can have its challenges, definitely. But we're husband and wife, and parents before anything else.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. I've got a few more questions for sort of family related stuff later, but it's so inspiring. So I can't imagine. I'd love to be. I'm very jealous, but I can't imagine being with someone for 24 years. It's just at this stage I'm at. It's about you, so we won't go into it. But at this stage,
you go ahead. We can turn it into a marriage counselling
relationship guidance. I've never met anyone that I think can handle me, and I don't mean that in a strange way. I mean, like I don't think they're put up with me. I just love work. I'm just addicted to it, but I do enjoy it and I love it. So who knows? I'm sure there is, obviously, but it's haven't found anyone yet that's.
You will. And I think that's the thing as well, is we had that instant connection very early on, where it was quite clear that we both had very similar goals, very similar ambitions. We didn't want to work for anyone else. And I've got to be honest, Matt's actually worse than me. So Matt is completely unemployable. Like, you would not be able to get Matt back into any type of paid job or anything like that whatsoever. Whereas I'm a little bit more of a chameleon. I think it would be difficult now after 14, 15 years to go back into paid employment. But I think definitely I'd had the ability to be able to go into paid employment and run my own business. But I think after this amount of time, it would be a struggle for me as well, I think now.
Yeah. Hi, Fran. Good evening, Fran.
Hi, Fran.
Have you here? David. Hi, I made it. Who's Nat? Says David Evans.
No, just some random.
Facebook user, I've got a lazy spa. Who hasn't got a lazy spa?
Well, I don't have one at the moment. Matt's talking about the products. MF Hanson says amazing. So cheers, Hanson. That's such a close name to handsome, isn't it? So Hanson. It's almost handsome, isn't it? Like everyone's calling you handsome all the time. Handsome. Yeah, things that. Yeah.
Hi, I'm handsome. Oh.
Yeah.
Why not? Building relationships with managers is hard work. Managed to build relationships with 3 big, massive UK companies. I'm guessing that's Sean.
It's Sean, definitely.
I can't see who that is, but I can just guess.
You can always tell from it. It normally involves the word massive.
Yeah,
Sean.
That's a Sean comment, and I guess without even seeing, because he's not.
Yeah, I know what Sean's doing at the moment, and he's absolutely smashing it in terms of and proving what some people say you can't actually do, what you can do, building relationships. Now that we're getting back into the world of RA again, and shops are starting opening up and things like that, I think you'll find that after the last 12 months, people in retail will be more amiable to people doing RA. I mean, that's what common sense would tell me. So I think it's worth having conversations. When we used to do RA, I was always really honest with the managers. I would, strike a conversation with the people on the tills, and I would say, because inevitably it came, oh, you're buying a lot, and I would
today,
that still happens now, saving for Christmas, doing this. And I think what's really interesting is because they don't have, I mean, they probably do a little bit more now because they're more used to resellers coming into the shops, but I think it proves that their mindset, and it's why people say, it's why not everyone can be an entrepreneur, because not everyone thinks that way, thinks from a business point of view. And I would just strike up a conversation and say something along the lines of, oh yeah, we work for an entertainment company or something like that. Then I would lead in with, oh, by the way, we're always looking for good deals. So if you or your manager or anything like that ever has any offers or anything, I'm happy to give you my details, and please feel free to give me a call, because we're always happy to look at, what you might want to get rid of in terms of for your targets and things like that. We're always happy to consider, and it always worked really, really well, and always ended up building good relationships. And that was the time when Smith's managers used to let you buy as many, they used to order you stock in from other stores and then give you 20% discount for doing it as well. And they don't do that anymore. Well, they some of them might, but yeah, not in everyday stores now, definitely.
Yeah. Well, we've got 42 people watching live with us. So that's great. Wow, big audience from this small channel compared to the Secret Wealth Project. If you don't know, Natalie is content director for the Secret Wealth Project. Those of you who don't know, I know 90% will, but there's some people watching on YouTube that are not our normal audience. So.
Yeah, self-styled. When Matt asked me to get involved in the Secret Wealth Project, and I suppose that's part of the journey, really, because I've been selling on Amazon for some time, and it was a time when we opened Easy Prep. So a lot of people don't know that we had a prep center as well, have a prep center, and we'd open that up, and which is part of selling on Amazon. And again, there wasn't really any decent prep centers around at that time. And I knew I wanted the opportunity to work with Matt and Karen, because I felt that they were, really innovative in the space. And, Matt's amazing at what he does, and Karen's absolutely fantastic on the BuyBot Pro side of things. And I thought, right, okay, if I want to work with some people in this space, definitely want to work with Matt and Karen. And so we set up Easy Prep, and we did that. And I opened up a little Facebook group a few years ago. And for me, it was just not really, I enjoyed, communicating with people and helping other sellers and things like that. But I didn't really want to build a Facebook group or anything. And a few years ago, Matt came to me and said, look, I'm looking for someone who's, that's selling on Amazon that can provide content to the group, because it's still very much an Amazon audience. And he's not selling on Amazon, which is he's always really open about. He doesn't sell on Amazon. So needing up to date kind of knowledge. And he said, do you fancy running the Secret Wealth Project? Do you fancy being in charge of content? And I was like, well, only if I can call myself content director. So I sound really important. and that's it from there. So it was, really handy for me to because like I said, I like the communication side of it. I like helping other sellers and like doing things like this. So it was perfect for me, and not having the pressure of building my own group.
Oh, okay, awesome, interesting. Yeah. So it's pretty much your group anyway, isn't it? I know it's Matt's, but
don't tell him.
I know he's watching. He's fine, but do you know what I mean? It's it's part yours in a way, isn't it? It feels like it is. You've got a really, really good, obviously, relationship with Matt as well. Both Matts, obviously, but no, yeah. Ray says hi all, hi Ray. Matt Cromie says lucky girl.
Wow,
that's why I'm going like that. Howie 92 YouTube. Can you have 2 seller accounts? I have one FBA with 2 others, but I want to open a new one for myself to do RA and OA. You could. Kev Blackman talks about that. You absolutely can, but there's definitely some checklists which we won't go into now that you need to go over if you're going to open 2 accounts. I don't know what you think about that, Nat. So.
It's a little bit of a grey area in terms of what you can have and what you can't have. Like you say, there's certain things you can most definitely have 2 accounts. You can have 2 accounts at the same address, but you have to have very, very specific reasons for having 2 accounts. So, you have to have a good business reason for opening a second account. So you can't have 2 arbitrage accounts. But you can have an arbitrage account, you can have a PL account, because there is a reason why you would have a separate account. But I am looking into something at the moment which actually blows all of that out of the water. And I think there's going to be something coming out in the coming months where Amazon might completely be scrapping the no 2 accounts under one household. That's the rumors I've heard. Breaking news. That's an exclusive for this group, because I was going to say it, which I'll say it, never mind the buy box tomorrow as well. But yes, there are rumors afoot that Amazon are less strict on this now. And they said, look, you don't maybe a year ago or something like that, they said you don't need to ask permission to open a second account. But I think some people get confused. You only really have an issue if you have one of the accounts suspended. That's generally when you won't generally have an issue if you open up one account, then another one. They'll probably go on for years unless you have an issue with one of the other accounts. Then the other one will probably be suspended relatively soon afterwards. So that's really the thing. So don't take my 100% gospel truth on that yet. It's a rumor at the moment, but one that we're hoping that Amazon might confirm at some point.
Okay, interesting. I mean, there's definitely probably good reason for having 2 accounts, but I mean, I've spoken to a seller. I don't know if you know them. They're called Amazon Lit from America, and I think last year they did up 38 million. And they've just got 1 account. Someone asked them, I think it was Reezy who was interviewing them some time ago, and they said, why do you not have 2 or 3 accounts? Do you not want to diversify? And they said that we think it's better to have 1 account because then we've got that account protected, and we've got obviously lawyers and stuff that are on call if ever something happens, you know. So I suppose, yeah, when you get to that scale.
Yeah, I think that there's a really strong argument for both sides of it. I think if you are in purely an arbitrage wholesale, I see no reason whatsoever to open multiple accounts, because Amazon will see that as price, competition fixing. That's potentially what they could see it as, and that's where the issue is, because they don't want the same sellers appearing on more than one listing. And if you've got 4 accounts and you appear 4 times on the same listing with the same product with different accounts, then you're getting an unfair advantage over the other sellers. You're getting a bigger percentage of the buy box, or potentially. So that's the issue with it. So again, I completely agree with that. But now, in today's Amazon world, the most important thing that Amazon wants you to do on the private label side of things is build a brand. That's what private label is about now. It's not about Me Too products anymore. It's not about importing a product from China and just copying a product and just, praying the sales velocity is going to work in your favor. Amazon doesn't want that anymore. They want proper established brands being built on Amazon. And I think what's really interesting is that argument about opening a separate private label account, if you're going to go down that route, is really valid, because now we're seeing companies like Thrasio who are acquiring private label brands, and you can actually sell it as an entity and have this kind of exit strategy, which you can't do if it's part of an existing arbitrage account. So I definitely see both sides of the argument. I think if you want to set up a private label account, you should most definitely open a separate account for sure.
Okay, interesting. Matt says, yo, happy birthday, Matt.
Yeah, happy birthday.
There he is.
Hope you're having a nice day.
Facebook user, enjoying watching with a G&T after a hard day's RA. Hi to you both.
That's
Do you know
Vanessa. I've got the names up. That's Vanessa.
Oh, hi, Vanessa. Christoph says, hey, Nat is the GOAT, but Matt is a beautiful man.
Well, there we go. I love being. I'll take that.
Hanson says, handsome.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
I thought he was going to chuck it in there. StreamYard not working on my phone, so hello again from Daphne. Hi again, Daphne. Kevin says, should you set up your business as a sole trader or limited company? So we're not going to go into these sort of questions because I am interviewing Nat. We're just going through saying hello. We'll do some questions at the end if we've got time, or post it, don't paste it, but post it in the Facebook group after. The FBA account is different phone number and address. Yeah, so any questions, post them in the Facebook group afterwards. We better carry on with the interview with Nat, otherwise we'll be here until 10 p.m. So let's go in. So biggest breakthrough, I've got some questions here. What's the sort of biggest breakthrough? Because obviously you went on to Amazon, you obviously started doing really, really well on Amazon, started with RA, got into OA. I know we've sort of sped past a few things there, and now you're in sort of private label territory, especially in the USA, but also in the UK with the unique stuff. So what are the sort of, if you could, the breakthroughs that you had to make you pivot towards the areas that you've pivoted towards, if that makes sense? So just some of the breakthroughs you've had, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest breakthroughs I had, best breakthrough we had about the power of Amazon, like I said, was our first Q4. It was just absolutely crazy. I mean, it was like nothing we'd ever experienced. And like I said, my products had previously appeared on TV programs. We'd had TV advertising. We'd won awards, things like that. And the power of TV and selling the products is phenomenal, but nothing touched selling toys at Christmas on Amazon, to be perfectly honest. I mean, they were coming in like every minute kind of thing, and we'd never experienced that before. So that was like a big realization on the power of Amazon. But I think again, for me, I don't know when it was. I'd always, like I said at the start, the first thing I looked into was private label, and it just wasn't adding up. And the more I found out about Amazon, the more impossible private labels seemed. But the more I experienced the same frustrations that a lot of other arbitrage sellers were experiencing, product saturation, price tanking, all of these different types of things on Amazon. And as much as I've always been someone that can buy product and stock it and sit on it, and predominantly in my arbitrage products, I'd always gone for harder to find stuff with bigger margins and less competition.
So I just see a spider running on the floor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right, feet are up.
So for me, it was, that, and I enjoyed that side of it, but I yearned, like everyone else, to have these kind of replenishable products because harder to find stuff, obviously, no chance of replens in that sort of stuff. The more limited edition stuff, no chance for replens there. So I was like, oh, okay, I expanded into different areas, but it still wasn't quite ticking the boxes for what I knew was possible. I kept going back to private label, and I was like, looked at it, and I think I decided to give private label a go at one point, and I really looked hard into it. And then in the US, I discovered this bundling idea, and I was a bit like, oh, okay, this is really similar to private label, probably less so at the time. It's probably evolved more into that, and but no one was really doing it in the UK. So I looked at the idea, I pulled it apart, and I thought what would work for the UK market, and I put it back together, and I built a product, and I launched a product, and it was a bit of a realization because I'd never made a product before. I'd always sold other people's products. My distribution company, we'd sold, a few £1 million worth of products, and at the same time, I didn't own those products. They were someone else's products. So I actually made this product myself, physically made this product myself from a bundle point of view. And we sent it in, and I sent like 12 in to start with. And we switched some PPC on. We didn't know anything about PPC on Amazon at all. And they literally sold, I think we sold 5 overnight, and I woke up in the morning and I could see that we'd sold 5. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah, this is amazing. This is crazy. I've made this product and it's actually selling. And yeah, the rest kind of went from there, and we're just sort of adapting it to the UK market and looking for different ways to do things. And really, that's what my Amazon journey's been about ever since, is always kind of going against the grain and doing something a little bit different to what everyone else is doing.
Okay, very interesting, because I mean, we all remember our first sale, the buzz you get at the first sale, but I can't imagine you bringing an idea to life and then getting that sale. That's like a completely different sort of, it must have been so fulfilling to get the first few orders. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the thing is now, that's because we predominantly do that now, whereas I don't really sell a lot of other people's products anymore. There's still other people's products, but they're under my own brand. And we just launched in the US, and I don't know if that question's coming a bit later on, but we still, we only launched a month ago in the US, and that's really traditional private label. It doesn't come from the Far East. It's actually a UK made product. And again, I think I was talking to Matt Webley about this a few weeks ago, and I was saying about, being in Amazon for so long, you don't get to experience, once you've been in it for so long, and if you're doing the same thing, and obviously I do a lot of different things within the Amazon community as well, because going back to that business lesson that I learned years ago, never to put all my eggs in one basket, especially not in an Amazon basket. No. When I learned that, I wanted to try different things, and I'd always had private label at the back of my mind, and then we got an opportunity to do that. But I literally, when we got our first sale on private label, it was like day one again. I was so excited. I actually think I've been the most excited in business when we got that first sale, and I had Elite Sellers Academy that night, and we got the first sale about an hour beforehand, and I think I just spoke in Elite Sellers. I was so excited about that we'd had this sale, and I think it because I know the opportunity of this product and this brand. So I think that's why I was so excited. But it's a new challenge. It's a new opportunity, and I think that's really important to anyone watching. And I know that you spoke about it a couple of days ago. It's about expectation and having all of these different. We all have expectations, and we all want to achieve certain things. But sometimes when you've been doing the same thing, it can become very samey. It can become quite repetitive. That's another reason why I make sure, even within the Amazon world, that I'm always doing something different, because I do have the ability to get bored quite easily. And if I get bored and if I lose interest, I'm done. I check out, I'm gone.
Yeah, it's quite hard to manage that sort of boredom and expectations and over expectations, isn't it? I think that's like it's a curse of entrepreneurs, but it's also something that you've seriously got to learn to deal with, because I was like that as well. Obviously you've mastered it now, but I was like that, like quite badly. I've had loads of businesses, just if it wasn't quite going the way, get rid of it, start again. That was not ever going to get anywhere. So I think that's that's quite a key lesson for people to take away. Definitely, it just takes a while to get the momentum going, doesn't it? To get the oils on the wheels and get them moving, really. So cool. So what drives you specifically in the Amazon world? Because you love Amazon, and I spoke to Matt Webley about this twice actually. I think he said that there's some people that are okay with Amazon, some people don't like it, they just do it for money. Some people are okay with it, but it's more of a driver. And then but you love it, we were saying, you love Amazon, or you appear to love Amazon, the whole sort of business.
Yeah, I don't think I would have been around this long if I genuinely didn't love Amazon. I mean, what's not to love at the end of the day? And I know they can be a pain in the bum, but when you look at the infrastructure of what they've built, it's phenomenal. When you look at the innovations within their business structure, and it becoming the biggest reseller in the world, and Jeff Bezos the richest man at one point in the world, I think his achievements are absolutely phenomenal. And I think the foundation of what he believes, I truly believe in. It's not this customer is always right, but customer is king kind of thing. So I think customer loyalty, treating your customers is, the right way to build a business. I've always been very customer centric in everything that I do. So that ethos is very, I resonate with that a lot. But this is where I go off, Jeff, a little bit. I don't believe that should be done at the expense of everything else, at the expense of your sellers. And when it comes down to it, Amazon do treat their sellers really badly, and they have bad practices, and some of the things are, pretty immoral what they do at the end of the day. But
yeah, it's pretty shocking, some of it. Yeah,
it's their playground, it's their rules. That's what I learned quite quickly. But I've been there, guys. I was the one 6 months in saying, this isn't fair. How can they do this? This is not right. And that's when you need to make a decision about whether or not you're happy to sell on Amazon. You need to not sell your soul, essentially, but you have to look at it and say, right, obviously I do something quite different on Amazon now, where I do have to drive my own traffic and create my own products and do marketing and things like that. But when you actually break it down and when you look at it, is what's not to love about Amazon. You don't have to do any marketing. You don't have to create anything if you don't want to. It is, a selling machine. They take care of your packing. They take care of picking. They take care of the customer service. They take care of everything. So I think it's phenomenal from that point of view. And at the same time, I also think it's a gateway business. I think it's a phenomenal gateway business for people out there who want to try running their own business, but don't know where to start. Whereas I do think online and retail arbitrage is the perfect business to start for anyone that wants to get into running their own business, because it's an easy setup. And I say easy setup. The business is not easy. I just want to make that clear. It's not an easy business, but it's an easy setup compared to a lot of other businesses. And I think that with so many great communities and software tools available, and, like BuyBot Pro and Profit Protector Pro and everything like that, online arbitrage deals, you don't even need to look for your own products to start with if you don't want to at the end of the day. So yes, there is competition. Of course there is at the end of the day, but it's how you navigate that and how you deal with that. And that's what will come down to your own business acumen at the end of the day. That's why I love Amazon. Yeah. I think, and what's interesting, I'll just add as an extra comment to that is, being in this kind of these communities for a really long time, I have seen so many people who have started selling online arbitrage on Amazon. I've seen some of the people that are still doing online arbitrage now, but it's opened up so many different businesses. People have moved into wholesale. People have moved into private label. I've seen some people sell their products and they've built up enough deposit to start their property business and all these different types of areas. That's why I say it's like a gateway business that start it up. You might not end up in it forever, but at the end of the day, it's a fantastic gateway business to be able to see if running a business is for you. And it teaches you so much about running a business, especially if you're doing everything yourself to start with, which is what I would recommend people do, to find out how to run a business, essentially. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And to add to that, there is people that absolutely just love online arbitrage and just stick with that forever, don't they? There's them people as well. So you've definitely got the whole bag,
Oh, yeah. And I think if you are that Del Boy personality, so I do have a little bit of Del Boy in me where I'm like, spot a bargain. And, loads of the people I've interviewed talk about this, and that never goes. So whenever I'm in a shop or anything like that, I don't do traditional online arbitrage anymore. Last Q4 was my last Q4 of doing traditional vanilla online arbitrage. But if I'm in a shop and I see 10 Nerf guns at half price, am I not going to buy them? Of course I'm going to buy them. That never leaves you, I don't think. And do I want to sit out a Q4 on like traditional arbitrage products? It's never say never. I don't think I'll be able to help it. I think there will always want to do that. Always want to do it no matter what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously that was Amazon, but like, obviously you must be quite a motivated person. I've seen sometimes that you get up at like 5 in the morning. I think anyone that I've done that, and then I've sort of fluctuated in and out of it, to be honest. But I think anyone that gets up at 5 a.m. in the morning, unless it's just an automatic, thing, but anyone that has to push themselves to get up at 5 in the morning, I don't know which one you are. Some people it's just inbuilt. I think that I've got so much respect for people like that, because I feel like that's an internal motivation more than just getting up. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a lot to that. I think this spans for people that can stay consistent at the gym, people that can stay consistent in business, in sport, all these different areas. So what's it all for? What's this all for? Why are you pushing yourself to succeed in Amazon and business in general? What do you do it all for?
Well, everything that I do is for my kids and my family. It's as simple as that. There's no other answer. Everything I do, what motivates me every day, is for my children and for Matt. It's as simple as that. And there's nothing extra to add to that. I'm completely family driven. Every goal that I set always has my children in mind. And like I said to Matt Webley of the Secret Wealth Project, because I was a little bit worried actually when he first came to me about running, because I know how, what a fantastic businessman Matt is, and he's a parent as well, obviously. And I said to him, look, first and foremost, I've got to make this clear that my kids come first, and they come first before anything. So I was a little bit worried, like, if I'm in a meeting and I've got to go and pick my kids up, because the reason I do what I do, and the same for my husband, so we can go and pick our kids up every day. Right. So they don't have to go into after school clubs if we don't want them to. So, we can go to every school concert. We can go to every nativity play. We can go to the parents' evening. We can go to every sports day. My parents worked when I was little, and my parents were never at a sports day or anything like that. So that's definitely a motivation to make sure that I'm there for everything that my kids do. That's king above everything. And by the way, Matt Webley, he was like, no, family comes first. I completely understand, and I know and understand that. So, that was cool. But with regards to the 5 o'clock in the morning thing, my husband, Matt, he says, you talk about 5 o'clock in the morning, and he's like, what you don't say, but I do say this, I'm lucky I'm a natural early riser. So I still have to set an alarm. I don't naturally wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But I think the difference is I'm one of these people that I can literally open my eyes and be like, morning. So
an annoying morning person.
Totally an annoying. And what I can do is I can literally get out of bed and I can open my laptop and I can start working straight away. Whereas some people need to warm up a little bit in the morning and go and do other things and have a cup of coffee. So I'm really fortunate in that respect. It is quite natural. But I always say the difference is there's a difference between waking up early and there's a difference between getting out of bed. Because I could quite easily stay in bed and be awake and just, relaxing or whatever. So I always think there's a big difference in that. So there is still good effort on that part, definitely.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I feel like it's usually it's one or the other. Personally, I'm a night owl, so for me to get up at 5 a.m. is a real struggle for me, but I do it because it makes me feel really good. But sometimes I'm just like, look, I'm so busy, like I'm launching this, I'm doing this, I'm whatever. I'm going to get up, I'm going to go to bed really late and get up at like 8 a.m. or 8:30 for the next whatever, and I'm going to do my work on the other side. I'm going to do it till 12 or 1 a.m. or whatever. So I suppose it's just what you prefer, isn't it? But
it's definitely that. And I think when it comes down to it, as long as you're good, what's changed for me over the last 12 to 18 months, definitely within my business and the successes we've seen in the last 12 to 18 months is I've become very strict, and I'm much better at managing my time than I used to be. And when you're a parent, when you're running businesses, when you have got things going on, my mother lives with us as well. I'm my disabled mother, so I'm a carer. I'm not like a carer, but you know what I mean? She gets on with her
Sure.
stuff most of the time. But all of these different things, and before my dad passed away, I used to have to look after him as well. So you have to, I learned a big lesson again that if I wasn't managing my time, I was like stressing myself out completely. And when you really dive into time management, when you really look into it, and when you pull everything apart, and when you stop kidding yourself that the stuff that you're doing to say that you're busy is actually important, and when you can break those apart, when you break it all down, there's not many important tasks in the day, to be perfectly honest. And that's what I've been, concentrating on the last 12 to 18 months, is working on the tasks of what actually makes me money. And it is the classic 80-20 rule, that actually 20% of what I was doing was making me money. So you just got to cut out the rest of the other crap.
Right. Yeah.
Cut that out and just focus on that 20%. Often there are days I'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll work, till sort of 8, 9 o'clock before the rest of my household wakes up, because the rest of my household are not early risers. And I can pretty much get my day's work done during that time.
Yeah. Did you read that somewhere? Because I read Rob Moore's book called Routine Equals Results, and he said that one of his mentors said to him once, just block out every 15 minutes of your day, and then you'll see at the end of the month what you're actually spending your time on, and most of it won't be important. And did you do a similar task to that sort of thing?
Yeah. So what I did was I employed time blocking into my business. And when you're physically blocking out time and you're accountable for the time that you're booking in, you start realizing what is important, what isn't important. And as more and more time goes on, you hold yourself more accountable to the tasks that are going to make you money. Because if you are putting these tasks in, and I'll be completely honest, it got to the point where I was thinking, 30 minutes, block that in. Oh, fannying around on Facebook, because that's what it literally was. I was looking at these time blocks, and I was realizing I was just wasting so much time telling everyone I was busy. And I really wasn't that busy when I broke it down, because the tasks that I was doing, I was massively procrastinating on, busy doing nothing really. I couldn't justify saying things were important. And there was a guy that I was at a conference with who gave this speech about time management, and it really resonated with me. And he said that if anyone ever asks him, because we love to look busy as humans, we love to look busy. If someone says to you, how you doing? I'm like, oh my God, I'm so busy. So busy, because we want people to think that we lead these really busy and fulfilled lives at the end of the day. And I was really guilty of that. If anyone said to me, oh, can we do this? Well, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so busy, I can't even. But I realized I wasn't managing my time properly. And I listened to this guy, and he did a speech about, if anyone ever asked him if he's busy, he's like, yeah, I've got loads of time. What do you need? How long do you need? And he went into this really long speech about time management and how he manages his time now once he broke everything down. So that was a real catalyst for me, definitely, about looking at it. But I love it now. I love it. If anyone in my life, personally, I don't do it to like random strangers or anything like that. But if I say, so, how's it going? Say, I'm so busy. Well, what have you done today? And they'll go through everything. I say, oh, you didn't do anything then. I just tell everyone now. I say, no, you need to manage your time better.
That's terrible, by the way. Matt said mother-in-law going free if anyone wants one. He made me laugh when I was talking to you. It's terrible. So with that's actually, you've pretty much answered the next question. You're doing quite well at this tonight. I said, how do you juggle family life with all that's going on? So do you actually segment your time into separate hours or half an hours throughout the day? Or
yeah, so it really depends. I never block out more than 2 hours for anything, because I think 2 hours is just way too long to concentrate on one task. For me, kids come first. So I generally only block out the time between when the kids, when I get home from the school run, or when the kids come home from school or something like that. So it's about 9 till 3. And, you know, they do go to after school club a couple of days a week. But during that time, it's getting those important tasks done first. So whatever the big task of the day is, I've got to get it first, because I am one of the people, I will try and get out of doing that important task. And I will procrastinate, and I will say, oh, I'll just answer that message first. And then I'll get onto that. And the more the day goes by, the more I push it out, and then I push it into the next day. So I have to get that really, really important task done. Angela said, eat that frog. Absolutely. It's, I live and die by that now. Eat the biggest, juiciest, ugliest frog going. Definitely. It works really well for me, especially if you're a natural procrastinator, which I can be. Definitely. I am an action taker, but if I can get away with it, I will. But I think that's completely natural. But what I also do is I try and maximize my time now as much as possible. So I take my dead time to try and get 1 or 2 added benefits out of it. Like for me, when lockdown happened, I really missed going to the gym, like a lot of people, and I wasn't getting a lot exercise as I should. Put on a few lockdown extra pounds, and well, quite a few. And so when the kids went back to school, I sort of said, oh, okay, I'm going to walk them to school every day. Well, sometimes I would drive them. So great. That's something, means I don't need to worry about doing exercise later in the day. Then when I started doing the school runs, it sometimes would take like 40 minutes. I'm thinking, okay, what can I do now? Because obviously this is, yes, I'm getting exercise, but okay, how can I maximize this even more? So I started listening to like podcasts or YouTube videos as I'm walking back from school. So I'm learning whilst I'm walking as well. And then I took it to the next level. I started making Matt come with me as well. So he would do his exercise at the same time. And then on the way back, we have our daily meeting. So we're talking about what we're going to do that day together. So we don't need to waste time or fanny about when we get in, having like a separate half an hour meeting. We can just both come in and get on with the tasks that need to be done. But I can only really, because like I said, when my kids are home, I want to make sure that I'm giving them my maximum attention. So my work day is really between 9 and 2:30, and I have to be good with my time, because I have to fit most of what I need to do in that time period.
Yeah. Okay, great. So what does the future hold for you and Matt and the family, I suppose? So sort of business and personal, however that sounds to you, that question. What does the future hold?
I never plan too far ahead. I have long-term goals, financial goals, personal goals, and things like that. But for me, knowing what I know now about running business for so long is, I don't think you could ever have, unless you're a traditional business owner, you know, like I was, I don't know, running a PT, and I was going to be like a PT instructor for the rest of my life. Yeah. For me, the future, as long as I can always adapt and evolve to a changing situation, which we've been successful in doing over the last few years, then for me, I definitely see that is how I'm going to have to be for the future. But my future, I think most definitely for the next 5 years, will still always involve Amazon. There have all been businesses over time that come and go, and different portals and things like that. But I think we're too intertwined now with the world of Amazon, and you know, working in these type of communities and selling on Amazon and having that love for Amazon, like you said. So carrying on the same. We're 1 month into our private label journey in the US as well, which is going really well. Really happy with the results so far. Yeah. We did double 5 figures in our first month, which we were really pleased with. Again, we're doing something completely different. So we're doing quite high-end products, very brand-driven products. And I think getting more into the world of Amazon branding is where I see myself going. Working with people that want to build brands on Amazon, for me, that's where, because that's where I'm staying in Amazon, and that's where I see Amazon going. So that's where I see myself going, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the video I did yesterday, just like what my opinion of the future was going to be on Amazon, and I said that I think it is not for about 10 years. I don't think, but it will be brand orientated, private label, not just private label brands, building a brand around there. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? I suppose. So, bit of a random question to sort of end with. Hi everyone. Oh yeah, cheers for watching, Thomas, by the way. Angela, hi Angela. I don't think I said hello to Angela today. The last question to sort of end things with, a bit of a fun one. So obviously on Secret Wealth Project, you run the never mind the buy box. I almost said no money down then, I guess.
No money down?
I don't know why I said that. I was watching the properties stuff yesterday and it was like no money down. So what guest, if you could interview anyone, like literally anyone, so in the Amazon world or outside the Amazon world, if you could get any guest on Never Mind the Buy Box, who would it be? So it's probably going to be Amazon related, obviously, but is there anyone that you just really want to get on there that either you've tried to or you haven't even tried to yet because you're not sure they will?
Well, I've been really lucky. Everyone that I've gone after, I've got, and I'm in talks. Yeah, I'm in talks with probably the biggest seller I can find on Amazon globally at the moment.
Nine figure or
10.
10.
Yeah.
I didn't know that existed.
So,
wow.
But trying to get 9 and 10 figure sellers to come on Facebooks and things like that is very, very hard. So
they must be so busy, you know, just because they've got so much going on. Like
yeah, absolutely. For me, I don't know. Probably outside of I don't know, outside of our communities. Obviously, I'm looking more at the private label side of things, and there's very different influencers within that market kind of thing. So, probably on the private label side of things, maybe Bradley Sutton from Helium 10 or something like that, or I'm just trying to think at the moment. Yeah, more sort of on the private label side of things. There's a couple of
big American shops.
Yeah. So definitely, I'm just trying to think.
Have you heard about Brock Johnson?
Pardon?
Have you heard of Brock Johnson?
I have heard of him.
He's great. Really great guy. Yeah, his whole course, it's like almost free. It's like $1
a month.
Yes,
I have. Great. Yeah, I have heard of him. But yeah, I don't know. Just probably, if you'd have asked me that a year, 6 months ago, it would have been probably a different answer. Because obviously, I'm very influenced by private label things at the moment. So for me, it's looking at different directions and trying to convey to people. Like I said, it's almost like the arbitrage and the private label world on Amazon are very two different worlds, and anyone that I'm finding really cool at the moment, no one seems to have heard of, because I think we're just influenced, by different things. But yeah, probably that's the person that I'd love to kind of interview at the moment. But like I said, we're talking to different people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So before you go, have you got any sort of final words that you would say for anyone that's sort of in their first, let's say, first year and a half of Amazon? Any words that you would give, words of wisdom, ideas, or just motivation, or what would you say?
Take each day at a time. I would say definitely do not look at, well, I say I'm going to contradict myself, take each day at a time. And then I was going to say, don't look at daily results, because I think there's this really big misconception about running an Amazon business, especially on the arbitrage side of things. It doesn't seem to work, doesn't seem to translate on the private label side of things, but definitely on the arbitrage side of things. People seem to think that running an Amazon arbitrage business is like a magical business that doesn't apply to the normal rules of running a business, which is absolutely not correct. It's a business just like any other. So what most people do within normal businesses is they don't, yes, of course, they look at things like daily sales and things like that to monitor that there's nothing, you know, going horrendously wrong, or they're not on a massive trend downwards, or if they're on a trend upwards, why are they on a trend upwards, all these different type of things. But in this particular world, people are so obsessed with their last day. They feel they're only as good as their last day. But real business doesn't work like that. That's why you have things like management accounts, where they look at things quarterly and, you know, yearly, and in different, you know, areas, and monthly. They don't tend to look at, oh my God, I had the worst sales day ever, I'm going to give up, and, you know, never darken Amazon's doorstep again. So I would say, think about the bigger picture. Think about the goals that you want to set yourself on a yearly basis, and break them down, track them back on how you can hit that goal by the end of the year. And as opposed to just looking at it on a daily basis and deciding if you're a success or a failure just based on your last day sales.
Okay. Yeah. It's so easy to do that, isn't it? It's so easy to look at the day and you're like, well, things were going well, but I've done 100 quid today. So obviously,
yeah, exactly. There could be a million reasons why you've done 100 quid as opposed to 1,000 quid. And what we've got, again, something else you've got to remember is, especially if you're an arbitrage seller, you might be selling 500 different SKUs across 7 different categories, across 20 different subcategories, and you're not going to have the same consistent sales every single day, unless you're selling the same products over and over again. So you're going to see huge fluctuations within your sales. If you're selling private label sales and it's an all year round seller, and there are no seasonal peaks and troughs, then you're going to see more consistency in your sale. But, you know, it's not slit your wrist time just because you've had a slow sale. That happens in business, in every business, in every country of the world. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And on that note, I just want to say thanks for the call that you kindly came on with me the other week. And I'm obviously not ashamed to admit it, but I got my calculations of my profit wrong. And it's almost an example of what you just said. Sometimes you just panic when that happens, because, you know, just because of 1 month that you weren't expecting, you know, you're expecting a bit more and it wasn't. In this case, it was an accident. But if that was actually the reality and my profit was like that, then, you know, it would have really affected my mood. And I suppose not allowing that sort of stuff to affect your mood is how you become successful, because you're working a way around it rather than getting. I would have worked around it, but stuff like that is very common, I think, you know.
We put a plan in place, and you didn't need it, fortunately, at the end of the day, because it was just a miscalculation.
But I've still learned from that plan, and I'm actually using it, so it's made me stronger. And carry on. Sorry.
And no, I also think the most sensible thing that you did at that stage as well, you didn't panic, you didn't go into a depression, you reached out to someone in the space. And I would encourage anyone to do this as well. We have these Amazon communities for a reason. Amazon, you know, Hayden, you're in exactly the same position. You're an influencer now. People are looking to you for guidance and things like that. So what I will say is don't suffer in silence. If there's someone you can drop a private message to, or if there's someone that you feel comfortable. Not everyone wants to post in Facebook groups, obviously, because it can be quite personal information. But reach out to people at the end of the day. Don't suffer in silence. Don't feel embarrassed. There's so many helpful people in this community that have been doing it for such a long time. And just don't suffer in silence, because it sometimes can be a case of, oh, right, okay, I've experienced that before, and this is what we did. And it can be a quick fix. Sometimes it isn't, but, you know, that's what I will say, you know.
And I think there's always someone that's been through what you've been through, isn't there? I mean, like, for example, you came on the call with me, and obviously you've been in the business a lot longer than me. You've been through the struggles that I was going through, and I sort of also passed that down to someone that I had a call with the last week. You know, he just said, look, I'm struggling with this, blah, blah, blah. we ended up talking for an hour and 10 minutes, and I like to think that he got a lot of value from that, and he's sort of, you know, changed the way he's doing a lot of things. So you know what I mean? There's always someone that's further ahead than you. There's always someone that's a little bit behind you. And I just try and help everyone. And I'd encourage everyone to just try and help who you can. Even if they're one step behind you, you can help them, can't you? And it always comes back around, you know. That's why I don't expect anything necessarily.
It is, definitely. I'm a big believer in that, without going down the woo-woo side of things.
Yeah.
When I first started out, I was messaging people and asking advice and things like that. And you know what? I've had to go back to the beginning on private label as well. What was really funny as well, and I said to Matt it would happen. I had to post a private label question in a private label group that I really didn't know the answer to at all. Yeah. And there must have been like a load of people I knew in that group, because within about 5 minutes of posting the question, everyone's like, oh, don't see this often, Natalie posting a question kind of thing. But I don't care, because at the end of the day, private label was a whole new learning curve for me. So I don't profess to know everything about that particular area of selling on Amazon. Well, I don't profess to know everything about selling on Amazon. I have my area of expertise, obviously, and I have certain things that I do that I enjoy doing. But yeah, I don't know everything. So I think it's really important for anybody to not feel embarrassed. And it sounds like a cliche, but it's so true. There's no such thing as a stupid question. There really isn't.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I've been doing it not too long, but an okay amount of time. And I posted a question, Secret Wealth Project, the other day, obviously about the listings disappearing. A lot of people would hold back. You know, they'd be like, oh, well, I don't want to be seen as not knowing what I'm doing. Like, it doesn't bother me. It's just, you know, I've actually had hate from a couple of people that were hating on me on YouTube. It happened, you know, oh, he's meant to be an expert. He doesn't even know this. It's like, I never said I was an expert. You put me in the expert box. I'm going to ask away as much as I want. You know, we don't know everything, do we? So
no, absolutely not. And and at the same time, Amazon is such an ever-changing platform that you can have an expert 1 minute and they can be completely out of date. This is why I always say it's important, and it's why I created the Elite Sellers Academy, because you know, I'd made courses, and I know some people frown upon that type of thing at the end of the day, but I enjoyed doing it, and the people who have participated in my courses are doing really well. So I've got no issues about doing that whatsoever. But the frustrating area for me, especially with what I was teaching, was going out of date so quickly. And I felt really bad, because I sort of say, people, you know, if someone goes back to that information a year later, it could pretty much be out of date. So I didn't like that. That's why I created the Elite Sellers Academy, where I deliver live weekly training every single week. And so funny. This is how true this is. Last week on a live session, something I was teaching that night went out of date 2 hours beforehand. Wow. Like it went out of date 2 hours beforehand. Didn't even have enough time to change my presentation. So I said it live to the guys. I was like, right, this is a funny story. What I've said here doesn't exist anymore. You're not going to be able to do this at a certain point. So it's why having up-to-date information is so important. And you know what? I've seen so many experts spouting out-of-date information. Sorry, experts. Spouting out-of-date information and, you know, saying you should do something this way. It's all subjective. At the end of the day, it's all subjectives. It was how you run your business is entirely up to you. And, you know, don't judge people at the end of the day. My favorite saying in Elite Sellers, and everyone hears me say it all the time, different strokes for different folks. What some people will do, other people won't do. And it's as simple as that. And, you know, don't be so judgmental.
That is a great saying to end it on. So thanks very much for coming on, Nat. Thanks for watching, everyone. Get some lovely comments. That's all right. So brilliant tonight. Thank you both. Always learning from you, from Daphne. Ray says, lovely chat. I did your beginner's course, Nat. It was great, said Darren. That's nice, Darren. I actually sent Darren that. I used to do property stuff with Darren. So, yeah, I sent him the course. Yeah. It's good to know he enjoyed it. Great interview. Thank you, Nat and Hayden. So, yeah. So, Matt says great job. Sorry, you've got to read all the comments. You know, you don't want to miss anyone. You know what it's like. Nats, thanks so much for coming on. It's been really, really great to hear your story. I will post this on YouTube as well, if you don't mind. Sorry, it should be on there, shouldn't it? Already?
It's already on there. Yeah, that's the thing. It just
stay there.
It just streamed live, so it should just upload. Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Do you want to give a shout out to anything or anyone, or sort of?
Yeah, if anyone
can find you, where can everyone find you?
They can find me in the Secret Wealth Project. So find us on Facebook. That's the Facebook group. There's the Secret Wealth Project YouTube channel. But I think probably what I'm most known for is Never Mind the Buy Box, which is a weekly Amazon. I still don't know what to call it. Chat show, cast, you know, Facebook broadcast, whatever. It's where we have a diverse amount of guests who come on and talk about their Amazon selling journey. Hayden's been on it previously. So that's every Tuesday, streaming live on YouTube or Facebook group Secret Wealth Project at 7 o'clock. There's always someone different on every week, and we always, you know, talk about Amazon. So
anyone watching this in the future, so Secret Wealth Project Facebook group, or Never Mind the Buy Box has a YouTube channel now, doesn't it? Anna and Secret Wealth Project has a YouTube channel. This is for anyone that's watching in the future on YouTube. Nat has 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, maybe 9, 10 figures coming on. So definitely check her out. So really enjoy, guys. Very inspiring, Natalie. Thanks. So that's Facebook user on my account, so I can't see who that is, but thanks for comments, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
That's all right. So we will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching.
Take care, everyone.